We wanted to show that Harvard can stand together, united, saying we're not going to cave to demands that we turn in some international student names so that they can be have their visas revoked without a just cause, and they can be deported back to their home countries. And that instead we're going to stand together as a university, as Harvard College, saying that, look, we're not doing anything for you, and we're going to stand behind freedom. These are my fellow classmates who want to be doctors, want to work in nonprofits, want to be educators, want to do really cool things with their lives. And I want them to stay in the United States to do that. I want the United States to be that place where people can come here and people can see, wow, this is the land of the free. I can pursue whatever business I want to pursue. I can do the research I want to do. And I can trust that in the US, I will be free to, pursue truth and pursue excellence. And that's why they came here. And I want to show them that the United States that they came here for still stands and is something that we're all willing to fight for.
Start spreading the ooze. I'm leaving today. I'm gonna make a mess of it across the USA.
That's good. Oh, nice.
I want to do my part to help my country overcome this dangerous pestilence. We're in a very, very tough space. But I came down to congratulate Harvard and to support Harvard for what they did this week. I think that this week will turn out to be the high water mark of Trump's popularity and his power. And it's downhill for capitulation from here on. This is the end of capitulation, and now we have to get together and link arms and protect our country, protect our democracy. How about world leaders will form a line and fight? He's trying to destroy everything good about this country. He's trying to tear down everything that our history and the best aspects of our political system have left us with. He's trying to destroy the legacy of America. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand America.
Now, if the best or near best private university in America or the world can say no, if it can defy the Trump regime, even at the expense, at a big expense, and I'll get into this in a moment, if it can do that, then the best public university in America and the world must do the same. And years will demand from all. Tyranny cannot exist unless people submit to it. And we are not going to submit.
If there's one thing that we are all committed to, it is the safety of our students, and that we will not allow them to be picked off. We will not let them be threatened for exercising their First Amendment rights, and we certainly won't sit by while there's political litmus tests applied to them that potentially puts them in real harm's way.
I'm against the cuts, which is a big part of Trump's agenda, cutting funding to education. And I'm also against the whole spiel. I mean, I got my master's at Columbia, and what they did to that Columbia student. And I just believe in due process. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in inalienable rights, which is a big part of my curriculum. I mean, rights that you are naturally born with, and that cannot be taken away, at least in theory.
We must also reject the weaponization of anti-Semitism.
I became politicized. Where I learned about Asian American culture, must step up and do more.
I think that we have something that we're fighting for that is a little bit different than what we've been fighting for in the past. And that is our very right to keep fighting and our right to resist and our right to speak and learn and teach. even if it disagrees with a current political regime. And I think this is the fight to win all fights, and that we need to show up and in a way that is more powerful and more abundant than in the past.
Are we still recording in live right now? Like, we don't need to, or do we need to keep in?
Correct. We should.
But this is not politics anymore. This is our lives. This is our fundamental relationship with our country and ourselves. And this is not a drill. And I think it's hard to recognize that when we've been living our whole lives in a fire and in a crisis. But this is not a drill. This one's different.
We say yes to a free university, open and accessible to all, a university where you can get a scientific education that faces up to the environmental catastrophe we've unleashed on the world. We say to a university where you can get an education in history, one that confronts the histories of racism and slavery, exploitation and empire, and of the people who fought back. These histories are being censored and suppressed by the government today. Even the dead aren't safe. We say yes to it. There's a little Walter Benjamin. We say yes to a university where you can get a political education. Where if something's not being taught in the classroom or the laboratory, if thinking and learning is being foreclosed, students can pitch their tents on the quad and teach each other and teach their teachers.
Now as a purge, and we need to fight back. It's inspiring to see so many of you out.
What the government is doing has absolutely nothing to do with security. It is entirely about repression.
That's right.
The U.S. government is using every tool in its massive arsenal to arrest, to detain, to deport, and in the case of universities, to defund these institutions simply because they disagree with U.S. foreign policy and have the humanity, let alone the temerity, to stand up for Palestinian human rights and oppose a genocide in Gaza.
That's right.
Fear of speech is authoritarianism. Fear of freedom is authoritarian. And it's being done on this under this false guise of a false definition of anti-Semitism, which, given the Nazi sympathizers in the administration, is obviously preposterous pretext. The true goal is to weaponize this ideological orthodoxy to dismantle the very institutions that undergird our democracy: courts, lawyers, civil society, and universities. And to suggest that due process is optional is, again, the hallmark of authoritarianism. Their strategy depends on testing us and shocking us to see if we will give up. Their strategy depends on dividing us so we cannot support each other. Will we let that happen?
No!
Will we stand together?
Yes!
Will we be silenced?
No!
We know that Donald Trump is disgraceful and shameful.
That's right.
I'm saddened to say that Mayor Eric Adams is disgraceful and shameful. I'm sad to see law firms like Paul Weiss shrink, be disgraceful and shameful. I'm sad to see institutions like Columbia shrink when they should have stepped up. And I saw our Columbia University journalism students. I want to thank you so much for having the courage to step forward when your president and your leadership let you down. I'm part of the America that has always fought back and always pushed forward and always said we will not let this happen while we're on our watch. And I want to thank all the leaders of the institutions of higher learning coming forward and say, you will not erase history.
You know, our AUP president and our labor coalitions have made the point that Trump's cuts and Trump's policy
You've seen that signature, and I don't use AutoPen.
Why are you considering changing the tax status of Harvard?
Because I think Harvard's a disgrace. I think what they did was a disgrace. They're obviously anti-Semitic, and all of a sudden they're starting to behave. But when you see what they were saying, what they were doing, when you see the way they took care of events, when you watch that woman, that horrendous president that ruined the image of Harvard, maybe permanently, in Congress, in the halls of Congress, when you take a look at what happened there, it was horrific. And, you know, I've looked at a lot having to do with it. I'm not involved in it. It's being handled by lawyers. I read about it just like you did. But tax exempt status, I mean, it's a privilege. It's really a privilege. And it's been abused by a lot more than Harvard, too. By a lot more than Harvard. So we'll see how that all works out. I don't think they've made a final ruling. I don't believe they've made a final ruling, but it's something that these schools really have to be very, very careful with. Very anti-Semitic when you take a look, whether it's Columbia, Harvard, Princeton. I don't know what's going on, but when you see how badly they've acted, and in other ways also, so we'll be looking at it very strongly.
If they agree to sign the deal, would you take that into consideration?
I think it would be something we discuss because it's